The first thing you need to understand is this: I'm not the kind of thief who crawls through a kitchen window and grabs the TV. I'm a fourth-generation professional. My grandfather robbed the mayor's mansion in '58 and walked out wearing the man's tuxedo. My father could strip a diamond necklace from your neck in the time it took to say, "Nice weather." Me? I'm patient. I'm precise. And I never, ever get caught. Until last Tuesday night, I would have told you there's no such thing as bad luck, just bad planning. But there's no plan for what I saw in that mirror. It started the way it always does: weeks of surveillance. My target was a sprawling, modern monstrosity of a house on the edge of town, owned by a man named Grant McAllister. I'd seen him exactly 3 times in 2 weeks, always pulling out of his driveway in a black Range Rover at precisely 8 p.m., gone for hours. No wife. No kids. House cleaners came every Thursday, which meant Tuesdays were perfect: dust settled, no visitors, nothing disturbed. Rich people think money equals security. You'd be shocked how often they settle for the illusion of safety. Fake cameras? Check. Security signs? Check. Motion lights that haven't worked in years? Check. By the 3rd week, I'd mapped his routines, noted the blind spots in the landscaping, and found my way in: an upstairs office window left unlocked, probably for fresh air on mild nights. On Tuesday, I slipped on my gloves, scaled the trellis like I'd done it 1,000 times, and slid the window open. Easy. But when I stepped inside, my heart did something it never does on a job: it skipped. The room was cold. Not the A/C's running cold. Graveyard cold. My breath fogged in the air, and my ears rang with that hollow silence you get right before a storm. I told myself it was nothing and crept through the hallway. The place was showroom clean, like nobody really lived there. That made it worse. I found the master bedroom. Walk-in closet bigger than my first apartment. Shelves lined with watches, rings, necklaces, the kind of stuff that could disappear without raising suspicion. My rule's simple: take a few plain, untraceable pieces, never the flashy stuff. That's when I saw it. Nestled in the center of a velvet-lined tray was a brooch. Gold, but tarnished in places. The design was wrong. A triangle inside a pentagon, etched so deep it looked like the gold had been burned away. My stomach knotted just looking at it. I left it. I don't touch things that feel off. That's when I noticed movement in the mirror. Not my reflection. Something behind me. I spun around. The closet was empty. The hallway was empty. But in the mirror, just for a second, a tall, shadowy figure leaned in the doorway, head tilted like it was studying me. Then it wasn't there. My first thought was, McAllister's home. My second was, get out. I retraced my steps, moving fast but quiet. Somewhere below me, a door slammed, hard. Then rapid footsteps pounded across the floor. Not one set. 2. The window I'd entered through was closed. I don't mean I forgot, I never forget. I mean it was latched. From the inside. A voice, deep, furious, echoed up the stairs. Where is it? It wasn't talking to me. I ducked into a side room and froze. The footsteps thundered closer, then stopped. Something metallic scraped against the floor. Then I heard the man's voice again, low and seething. Pete said you'd come back. We'll finish this tonight. The sound of a lock turning somewhere nearby made the hair rise on my neck. A door opened. Hinges groaned. I peeked just enough to see McAllister's back disappearing into what looked like a hidden room in the wall, carrying a long-handled hammer. That's when I realized I wasn't alone in this house. And whatever else was here, it wasn't just McAllister. I should have left.
Before we move on, please donate me in the form of subscribe.
I should have forced that window open, dropped 2 stories to the grass, and been halfway across town before McAllister even realized someone had been here. But I didn't call it curiosity, call it stupidity. Either way, I crept down the hallway, staying in the shadows. McAllister was somewhere in that hidden room, his voice drifting in and out like he was talking to himself, or to someone who wasn't answering. That I passed the guest bedroom and froze. From under the bed, a pale hand darted out, then jerked back. I'd seen plenty of strange things in my line of work, but a human hand where it shouldn't be. That'll stop you cold. I crouched low and whispered, "Hey. I'm not here to hurt you." For a few seconds, nothing. Then a girl slid out from beneath the bed like a ghost. She couldn't have been more than 20. Dirty blonde hair, a torn hoodie, bare feet. Her eyes were huge and frantic, scanning the hallway before locking on me. "You have to go," she whispered. "Now. Before he comes back." "I'm working on it," I said. "Who are you?" Her lips trembled. "Ends." She glanced toward the hidden door. "He's going to kill me." I wanted to ask more, but something on her neck caught my eye. Burned into her skin, just above the collarbone, was the same symbol from the brooch, a triangle inside a pentagon, the flesh around it angry and red. "What happened to you?" I asked. Her voice was barely audible. "I prayed for revenge." Something answered. The floor beneath us creaked. McAllister's footsteps, heavy, deliberate, were getting closer. Enza's hand shot out and gripped my wrist. "Don't let him put you in that room." "What's in there?" Her eyes glistened. "The thing I called. It doesn't like to be caged." Before I could respond, McAllister's voice boomed from the hallway. "There you are." He stepped into view, hammer in one hand, a small key in the other. His eyes flicked from me to Enz and back again, like he was trying to decide who to hit first. "You picked the wrong house," he said. Behind him, every light in the hallway flickered once, twice, then died, plunging us into pitch black. Enz let go of my wrist and whispered, "It's here." Somewhere in the dark, a low, wet dragging sound echoed, like something heavy was being pulled across the floor. The air thickened, carrying a smell like burned hair and copper. McAllister shouted into the dark, "Not yet. You know the deal." The dragging stopped. Then a sound, a rasping inhale, like lungs filling for the first time in centuries. Enz grabbed my arm. "Run." I didn't argue. We bolted down the hallway, the cold getting sharper with each step. Behind us, McAllister screamed, not words, just raw, animal panic. Something crashed. A door slammed. Then came the wet, tearing noise of something breaking that wasn't wood. I didn't look back. We found the stairs and half stumbled, half fell down them, hitting the tile hard at the bottom. The front door was dead-bolted, 3 times over. Enz yanked me toward the kitchen back door, she hissed, but as we reached it, the overhead lights flared to life. Every single bulb in the room burned white-hot for a second before popping, showering glass onto the floor. In the sudden dark, something big moved in the next room, slow, deliberate, like it had all the time in the world. Enz turned to me, her voice low but steady. "It's not after you. Not unless you take what belongs to it." I thought of the brooch upstairs. The weight of my small bag of stolen jewelry felt suddenly unbearable. Behind us, the sound of claws, yes, claws, scraped along the floor. And then, breathing. Not McAllister's. Something deeper. Hungrier. We didn't wait to see it. We ran. We cut through the dining room, feet slipping on the polished hardwood. I could still hear McAllister upstairs, but his shouts were shredded with something else, choking, gurgling, a wet crunch that made my stomach twist. Enz pulled me toward the front hallway again. "There's another way out," she hissed. "Through the study." The study was on the right, behind a pair of French doors. We slipped inside, and I instantly regretted it. Every wall was lined with bookshelves, but not with the kind of novels you'd find in a rich man's library. These were old, leather-bound tomes with cracked spines and titles in languages I couldn't read. On one shelf, sitting like a trophy, was the brooch. Not the one from upstairs, another one, identical, stopped dead, staring at it. He's been collecting them, she whispered. Why? I asked, because each one is a promise. Before I could press her, a violent thud shook the ceiling above us. Dust rained down from the chandelier. McAllister's voice shrieked, "Hi," panicked, "I gave you what you wanted." A deeper voice, one that didn't belong in any human throat, rumbled back, "Not enough." The air in the study thickened, the temperature plummeting. My breath came out in clouds. The French doors behind us slammed shut, the latch clicking on its own. Something moved in the shadows near the far wall. I thought it was just my eyes adjusting, until it stepped forward. It was tall. Its head nearly grazed the ceiling. Its skin looked stretched too tight over its bones, like it had been dried in the sun for decades, but it moved like it was liquid. Its eyes, no, not eyes, just two black pits, locked on ends. She didn't back away. "You said you'd help me." The thing's mouth split into a too-wide grin. I did. I grabbed her arm. "We're leaving." The thing tilted its head, gaze shifting to me. "You've taken from my house." I shook my head fast. "I didn't touch your, whatever that is." Its grin widened. "Not yet." Another crash from upstairs. Heavy footsteps thudded toward the stairs, but not in the panicked rhythm of before. These were deliberate. Slow. Like whoever was coming down knew we couldn't get away. The demon, I can't call it anything else, stepped backward into the shadows until it was gone, as if it had melted into the wall. Enz turned to the corner bookshelf, hands moving frantically. She pressed something, and part of the wall popped open, a narrow closet, lined with old coats. She said that we crammed ourselves into the darkness. She pulled the panel closed just as the study doors opened. Through a narrow crack, I saw McAllister's silhouette. But he wasn't moving right. His head twitched in short, sharp jerks, his arms hanging limp until they swung forward like a marionette's. He sniffed the air. "You can't hide her." Enz's grip on my wrist was so tight my fingers went numb. McAllister, or whatever was in him now, stepped to the center of the room. Slowly, he turned toward the bookshelf hiding us. I held my breath until my lungs burned. Then, from somewhere upstairs, something slammed, loud enough to make the whole house shudder. McAllister's head jerked toward the sound, and he staggered out of the study. We didn't waste the opportunity. Enz shoved the panel open, and we bolted for the back of the study, through a side hallway, and into the kitchen again. That's when we realized the house had changed. The back door was gone. Literally gone, just a wall where it should have been. "This isn't possible," I muttered. Enz didn't answer. She was staring down the hallway to the front, where the main entrance now stood wide open. McAllister was there, blocking it. And behind him, framed in the doorway, was nothing but black, no street, no lawn, no night sky. Just endless, swallowing dark. He smiled. "She's staying." McAllister stood in the doorway, that black void stretching out behind him like the world had been erased. His grin wasn't human anymore, too many teeth, and all of them too sharp. Enz stepped backward until she was pressed against me. "It's not him," she said quietly. "It's using him." He took a step inside, and the air seemed to warp around him. Every light in the house flickered back on, but dimly, like candlelight filtered through water. The shadows weren't staying put, they slid along the walls, pooling in corners, reaching toward us. "You prayed," McAllister said, his voice layered with something deeper, hungrier. "And I answered. You asked for suffering. I gave it to you." Enz's voice cracked. "I asked for justice." "That's just a prettier word for the same thing," the thing wearing McAllister replied. I scanned the kitchen for anything that could be used as a weapon. My eyes landed on a heavy butcher knife in a block by the counter. I grabbed it. "We're leaving," I said, more to myself than to him. McAllister tilted his head at me. "You can't leave. You've been seen." And then the house moved. "I swear it," the walls seemed to bend inward, the hallway shrinking, the kitchen counters pressing closer together. The windows were gone, replaced by more walls, seamless and unbroken. Enz grabbed my hand and pulled me toward the pantry door. There's a crawlspace behind it. We shoved it open and slipped inside, closing it quietly behind us. The air in the crawlspace was damp and smelled like mold and rust. Wooden beams above our heads groaned, dust sifting down with every step. From the other side of the pantry door came a slow, deliberate knock. 3 times. Then silence. Enz leaned close. He's stalling. It's letting the house change. What do you mean, change? I asked. You think this is a house? She whispered. It's just a shell. The real thing is inside it. Before I could process that, something in the dark ahead of us moved. A figure hunched low, its back brushing the beams. Too thin, too long. I raised the knife, but then it turned its head toward us. It was McAllister. Or, a version of him. The skin on his face was wrong, like it had been stretched onto a different skull. His eyes were wide and empty. Come back, it croaked. It's warmer here. Enz shoved me sideways into a narrow gap between beams, dragging me past him. We ran hunched over, the wood scraping my back.
Before we move on, please donate me in the form of subscribe.
Until we found another door, small, old, with a tarnished brass knob. She kicked it open, and we stumbled into the master bedroom again. Only it wasn't right. The room was upside down. Furniture hung from the ceiling. The bed hovered a few inches above the floor, swaying gently like it was underwater. The brooch sat in the center of the floating bedspread. Enz froze. Don't touch it, she whispered. But the moment she said it, the walls pulsed, and the brooch slid toward the edge of the bed, as if inviting me to take it. From behind us came a low growl. The real demon, not McAllister's body, but the thing I'd seen in the study, stepped into the room. Its limbs bent in wrong angles, its mouth wide enough to split its face. You can have her, I said before I even thought about it. Just let me go. Enz turned to me, horrified. It doesn't bargain. It collects. The demon stepped closer, its clawed hand reaching past me toward her. That's when McAllister appeared in the doorway again, human-looking this time, though pale and trembling. He was holding a lighter in one hand and a bottle of clear liquid in the other. You want her? He shouted at the thing. Come get her. He hurled the bottle at the bed. It shattered, soaking the sheets. The stench of gasoline hit me. Before the demon could move, McAllister flicked the lighter. The bed ignited instantly, and the house screamed. Not a creak, not a groan. A scream. High, piercing, and furious. The floor lurched beneath us, and I knew we had seconds before the whole place came down. The moment the flames touched that cursed brooch, the room erupted in chaos. Fire crawled across the ceiling, or what was now the floor, given the upside-down geometry of the place, racing along the edges like it knew exactly where to go. The demon shrieked. Not like an animal, not like anything I've heard on this planet, it was the sound of metal twisting, bones snapping, glass exploding, all at once. The black pits where its eyes should have been flared with red light. McAllister was backing toward the door, lighter still in hand, coughing in the smoke. Run, he barked at us. It's distracted. But Enz didn't move. Her eyes were locked on the bed, or rather, on the burning brooch in the center of it. If it survives, it'll come back, she said. The demon lunged for her. I grabbed her arm and yanked hard, pulling her toward the doorway. The thing's claws swiped inches from her face, gouging the wall instead. Black sludge hissed where it touched the wallpaper, the material curling away like burnt paper. We barreled down the hallway, the house groaning and twisting under our feet. Stairs bent sideways, doors led to walls, and the ceiling sagged low enough to brush my head. Smoke filled the air, but it wasn't just wood burning, It smelled like meat and ozone, like the inside of a storm cloud. McAllister followed close, muttering something under his breath. At first I thought it was panic, but the rhythm was too deliberate. It was a chant. Words I didn't understand, the syllables thick and guttural. Enns glanced over her shoulder at him. Stop. You'll. She didn't finish. The floor beneath McAllister split open, and black tendrils shot up, wrapping around his arms and legs. He dropped the lighter as he was yanked off his feet. Help me, he screamed, thrashing, but the tendrils dragged him toward the gaping hole. I started forward, but Enns grabbed me. You can't save him. It's claiming what's left. McAllister's face contorted into pure terror. Then something yanked him down hard, and he vanished into the dark. The tendrils slithered back into the floor, the gap sealing over as if it had never been there. A loud crack echoed through the house. Flames burst from the walls, racing in all directions. Somewhere above us, the demon's shriek turned to a low, furious growl. We stumbled into the main hallway. The front door was there again, but the black void behind it still swallowed the view. I hesitated, because stepping into nothing didn't exactly seem safer than burning alive. Enns pulled me toward the side of the house instead. Kitchen window, she said. But there isn't, I stopped as we rounded the corner. There it was. The kitchen window, exactly where it had been when I first scoped the place. Wide open, night air spilling in. We didn't question it. I boosted her up, then climbed after her, dropping onto the lawn with a thud. My lungs burned from the smoke, my eyes streaming. Behind us, the house roared. Flames punched through the roof, but they burned in unnatural colors, sickly greens, deep purples. Shapes moved inside them, twisting like they were trying to crawl free. Enns grabbed my arm and dragged me toward the tree line. It's not over until we're away from it. We ran. Branches whipped my face, the ground uneven under my feet, but I didn't stop until the heat of the fire faded and the night was still again. When we finally collapsed against a fallen log, I realized I still had the small bag of jewelry in my jacket. It felt heavier now, like each piece was a lead weight. I pulled it out and tossed it into the bushes. Not worth whatever that was. Enns didn't look at me. She was staring back toward the glow in the distance, her face unreadable. You don't get it, she said quietly. I didn't just call it here. I brought it. And it doesn't stay in one place for long. I felt my stomach drop. Meaning what? She finally looked at me, and in her eyes I saw both exhaustion and something darker. Meaning it might follow whoever's left. And just like that, I knew, getting out of that house didn't mean I was free. We sat in the dark for a long time, just listening. The wind through the trees. The distant hiss of the fire. Somewhere, far off, the sound of sirens. When I finally spoke, my voice was hoarse. You want to tell me what that thing was? Enns didn't answer right away. She plucked a splinter from the log, turning it over in her fingers. When I said I prayed for revenge, I meant it. I didn't kneel in a church. I didn't light candles. I found an old book online. Cost me every cent I had left. It said there were beings you could call if you were desperate enough. And you were desperate. Her eyes were fixed on the dirt. My brother. McAllister took him. Cops wouldn't help. No one would. So I made the call. I didn't need to ask what happened next, I'd seen enough to guess. You got it to come, I said. And it killed him for you. Her voice dropped. It didn't stop there. It doesn't just kill. It plays. It uses people. And once it's fed, it looks for the next meal. That last part sat in my stomach like lead. So you're saying it might follow me? She finally looked up, and the guilt in her face told me more than her words. It saw you. That's enough. We didn't speak after that. By the time we made it back to the edge of town, the sirens were closer, the glow of the burning house painting the clouds in sickly orange. At the intersection, N stopped. "This is where I leave you. That's it? No advice? No magic words to keep it away?" She shook her head. "There's no keeping it away. Just don't take what's marked. Ever. You saw the brooch. If you'd touched it, you wouldn't have walked out." And with that, she turned and walked into the shadows between two houses, vanishing like she'd never been there. I went home. My place is small, a rented apartment above a laundromat. Normally, the noise of the dryers running all night is enough to lull me to sleep. That night, it just made me think of the noises in McAllister's house, the dragging, the scraping, the two human footsteps in places they shouldn't be. Around 3 a.m., I woke up to find my bedroom window open. I know I locked it. The air was ice cold, and the curtains were swaying even though there was no wind. I checked the whole apartment, every corner, every shadow. Nothing. But when I came back to the bedroom, there was something on my pillow. A brooch. Gold. Triangle inside a pentagon. I didn't touch it. I grabbed my coat, walked it 3 blocks away, and dropped it down a storm drain. My hands were shaking the whole time. When I got back, the pillow was empty. I haven't seen N since. I haven't seen the demon either, not directly. But every now and then, in the reflection of a shop window or a dark mirror, I catch the shape of something tall, head tilted, watching me. I tell myself it's just paranoia. But I've started leaving my apartment before sunset and coming home after sunrise, like maybe it can't follow me in daylight. It's only a matter of time, though. I can feel it. Some jobs leave you richer. Some leave you smarter. This one left me with nothing but the knowledge that there are doors you can open without even knowing it, and once you've opened them, they don't close. I'm still a thief. It's in my blood. But these days, I'm a little more careful about the houses I break into. Because now I know there's something else out there breaking into us. And it's much, much better at it.